Hello, Fredak here, Fred ACC, all one word. Alrighty, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. And today we have a very interesting discussion tutorial on 21 Blackjack. Oh, the bugs are out. Okay, so if you find this interesting, subscribe, go in, check out some of my other tutorials about sports wagering, the stock market, day trading. We got a lot of different stuff to offer. Just remember, knowledge is power. Alrighty, let me sit back and relax my fat belly. Okay, so this is not financial advice. These are only my opinions. And of course, you have to do your homework. You'll have to check some of this stuff out. If it agrees with you, then you absorb it. If it doesn't, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're here for the aesthetics, you're probably in the wrong place. If you're here for the knowledge base, you're in the right place. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more powerful you become. Today's discussion is going to be about Blackjack 21. I am going to go by the general rules of the casinos that I have been in around the world. There could be variances to the different rules, and you've always got to know the rules. Whatever venture you're getting involved with, you must know the rules, whether it's playing chess, or if it's betting on horses, or if you're wagering on sports, or the stock market, or walking into the casino to play craps, or blackjack, or roulette, or whatever it might be. You gotta know the rules. The last thing you want to do is hit a really big win on a slot machine and then find out for some reason you're not eligible to collect the money. Like, let's say if you're only 17 years old, you show your ID and they said you don't belong here. You have to be 18 or over, or 21 or over. And so we're not paying you the 4.8 million. Oh, heartbreaker. Alrighty, let's dive right into this. So, like I say, knowledge is power. Alrighty, and be sure to check out my other tutorials on sports wagering, on horse racing, on day trading, the stock market. Lots of good knowledge base here, in my opinion. Okay, so the game of Blackjack, or 21. The general way that it's played is that the player receives two cards, each player at the table, and the dealer gets one card that he turns up, and he has one card that's underneath it, buried. You don't know what that card is. Okay, the idea is that you're trying to outplay the dealer. 21 is the point total you're trying to get to. You have aces through kings. The 10 is a 10. The picture cards Jack, Queen, King count as 10 points. The ace could be 1 or 11 at your discretion to whatever works for you. Alrighty, so with that being said, you're trying to accumulate a point total close to 21 that you're beating the dealer's hand. But you don't know what the dealer's hand will end up being because he's the last one to act. Alright, there are certain mathematical strategies towards playing blackjack. And I'll try to go into those probably on a later video, because this will be a little bit time consuming. Because it's the general theory or concept that I am trying to share with my viewers. So you receive two cards. The dealer has one card that's up. If you take an extra card, let's say you have a 5 and an 8 for a 13, and you say, give me another card, and you get another card, and it's a 10, or a king or a queen, and you've gone over the 21 level, they absorb your wager out of the little circle that's in front of you. You've lost. Now, after the hands have been played by the players, and the dealer plays his hand, if the dealer goes over on his point score, they don't give you your money back. You've already lost. So the idea is to get close to 21, but don't go over. But there's certain spots where you need to challenge the dealer's card. The theory behind blackjack, in my opinion, is that I almost don't even care what two cards I'm given. It could be a 2 and a 3. It could be a 10 and a 5. The important thing that I'm concerned with is playing the dealer's card. The dealer's card is what tells me how I'm going to act, how I will play my hand. If the dealer gets, let's say, a 4 or a 5, if he has a 10 card underneath, a 9 or an 8, he's over the point score of 11, meaning if the next card that he takes puts him in a situation where he would bust, he'd go over 21, then all the other players that are still on the table that are in the hand will win. So the dealer must accept the card if his point total is below 17. Once the dealer gets to 17, has to stop there. So if the dealer's up card is a 7 and below it he turns over a 10 when it comes to his turn, if everybody on the table is sitting on it a total of 18 or 19 or 20, and he's going to lose all those hands with his point score of 17, he has to stand pat and pay everybody. That's the kind of the minor advantage to the players, is that the dealer does not have many options. The dealer, the house, has to play by specific rules. And the specific rule is generally that at 17 or better, the dealer has to stand. Even if the players are all beating the dealer, he does not take another card. With that being said, if the dealer has a point total of 13 or 14 or 16, he must take another card from the deck, and if it's anything that puts him over 21, then he has busted. He went broke. He went over. And they pay all the players that are still alive on the game. If you've already gone over and they've absorbed your wager, then you're out. With that being said, back to theory. The most important thing of the blackjack game to me is what is the dealer's up card showing. If the dealer's up card is a 10 or an ace, I know that I have some serious issues on my side, no matter what my point score is. If the dealer shows a 4 or a 5, that's optimal to me, because that means that depending on whatever card he has below, he's going to have to take cards. And once he starts to take another card and take another card to reach 17 or better, there's a decent chance that he could bust, meaning go over 21 and pay all the players. Back to theory. So playing the dealer's card, that's the most important thing to remember in blackjack. You start to get a sense for how the game is played if you sit there and play. It's a $5 minimum table, you're betting $5 on each hand, fine. The advantage / disadvantage to the player is that there are certain opportunities that you get to add more money onto the table, to put into play, to put into action bets. So if you're betting $5 and your two cards are, let's say, a 5 and a 6, and the dealer's up card is a 4, that's beautiful. They have something that's for the player that you're allowed to either double down, which means you get one card and you get to double your bet or any part of the bet. You have to check the rules. Most casinos, if you've bet $100 and you want to double down for 50 more on the side, they will allow that. It's not that it's a one-for-one match. But if it's a mathematically advantageous situation for you, that you're going to win more than 50, 60, 65, 70% of the time, you want to add more money to the table in the advantageous situations. You do not want to add money to the table in a disadvantageous situation, meaning the odds are against you. For example, if you have a pair of 5s, if you have a matching pair, you're allowed to split them, move them off to the side, and create two separate hands. So if you've bet $5 and you have a pair of 8s, you can, instead of 16, you can split the 8s, and you can put $5 more next to the second pair, the second 8, and you now have two different hands that you will play. You're allowed to double down, which means you only receive one card. Splitting cards, you can take as many cards as you want. So if you split something like 8s, and the first card is a 2 on the first hand that you're playing, you now have 10. If the dealer shows a bad card of a 4 or a 5, you can add more money out there, another $5, and say I want to double down on that 8 and 2. So you have 10 plus whatever they turn over the card for you. Then you go to the next hand, your other 8, and you play that hand. Now if you get, let's say, a 10, you have 18, the dealer has a bad card of a 4 or a 5, he's probably going to have to accept cards, possibly bust. You probably want to sit tight. So the advantageous to the player is going to be when I can add money to the table when it's in my favor mathematically. And learning those different things, and we will have to dwell into this to teach people that want to know about how to know which are the spots that are very mathematically strong, advantageous situations. This is your chance to kind of double up or get ahead on the house, the casino. Doesn't always work that way. The dealer could show a 4 or a 5. You could split off your cards. Now you don't want to split something like a pair of 10s because you have 20. That's a winning hand. Why would you split those off and add $5 more to the table? You're not going to double down. If the first hand you get a 4, now you have 14. The last thing you want to do is get a 10 and go over 21 and they take away that $5 while the dealer is showing a 4 or a 5. So you're probably going to stick with, you're going to stand pat. I'm good on my 14, my 13, or my 15, even a 12 against a 4 or a 5. If it was an ace or a 10, you'd probably have to take a card. You have to challenge. If you sit tight thinking, well, I feel this and I feel that. There's no feeling in blackjack. It's mathematics, pure mathematics. Knowledge is power. Subscribe, start to understand. If you're going to play blackjack, if you're going to play casino games, you don't want to miss out on my tutorials. If you're going to day trade the stock market, you don't want to miss these things. If you're going to be somebody who's looking to make sports wagers, you want to have the most knowledge, the most power behind you as you're playing. That's going to increase your chances of winning the monies. If it's horse racing, you need those trip notes. I've been posting them. Trip notes is what it's all about. Within every trip note that I post, I'll put something on there that if this horse is this price here, I'm betting $100. If this horse is this price here, he's 4 to 1, I'm betting $200. If he's better than 6 to 1, I'm betting $800. To win. Yes, to win, not to lose. Okay, so I want to thank you all for being here today. Once again, knowledge is power. This is just a little preliminary into the blackjack, the 21 game. If there's something that you missed on here, replay it back. If there's any comments you have, ask away. I'll do the best I can to get right back and answer your question. Alrighty. Because the smarter player that you become, the longer you're going to survive on that table. And we will put something out there about random. Very shortly, we're going to post something about random streaks. Something that's not really mathematical. It's just the way that everyday life is. Alrighty, I want to thank you all for being here today. Please subscribe, hit the likes button if you like what you see. If you don't like it, hit the don't likes button. If you have any questions, please ask. I'll do the best I can. Might be time for a swim in the pool. It's getting pretty warm out here. Okay, may all your days be winning ones, and thanks for stopping by. Keep an eye on my other tutorials. Knowledge is power. This is the good stuff. This is what you're here for.